Care how hard their parents try to provide them food or necessities.
Food and necessities, it's food and necessities. Hello there, humans. My name is Comedian, don't keep saying it, and I'm back doing BTS stuff on camera, which is my life now, apparently, and I'm strangely okay with it. So today I'm going to do a reaction to a DKDKTV video. Oh, it's always a mouthful. Did I get it right? Technically. Yes, that's right. The world's biggest Donkey Kong aficionados, Double Donkey Kong Squared TV. These guys do excellent explanation videos for BTS, but I haven't really reacted to one for a while, and I'd like to think it's because I'm actually getting pretty good at explaining their lyrics myself. I mean, it would be BTS lyrics explained by a pasty pasty, BTS lyrics explained by a Westerner who really only gets about 1/10 of the meaning, but you know, I do alright, I'd like to think. But yesterday I did Spinebreaker, and it was one of the first BTS songs that mildly bamboozled me for a bit. Towards the end, I did really grasp the meaning, but as I understand, it's one of those songs that really has a lot of Korean interplay, Korean wordplay, Korean foreplay. Maybe in the music video, or maybe I was just projecting while I was looking at RM. I don't know. But this song has a lot of stuff going on, and I'd like to learn more about it, learn what's going on. You guys have directed me to DKDKTV. I knew I was going to balls it up, the DKDKTV explanation video, so I'm going to sit down and watch the explanation, and you guys are going to watch me be explained to, because that's the age we live in. It's brilliant. So make sure you are subscribed, make sure you've tickled my bell, the notification bell, and make sure you check out my Patreon for more of these really quite obnoxious reactions. And let's crack on with this, shall we? Just a quick shout out to Storagebox, Lulia Cookpage, and Maru Marino for letting me know that this is a video I should watch. I appreciate it. Thank you, chaps. All right, let's do this. If you're subscribed. I'm not going till you click subscribe. I know, I will know. I've got a futuristic algorithm. I don't. It's a bluff. I don't have the nerve to be a YouTuber. Alright. Okay. It isn't silent. Thank goodness. Spinebreaker explained. I also picked the right video.
Spinebreaker. What a strong title name for new armies or casual listeners that don't
I'm going to turn these subtitles off.
misunderstood in the way of maybe BTS crushing their haters' spines. I doubt that anybody would actually think like that, but still, without knowing the Korean...
I mean, I didn't necessarily think like that, but do I think it's out of the limits that BTS would crush somebody's spine? We've all seen Sugar give some really quite grumpy faces to people. It's not completely out of the equation.
The story, this song is a little bit hard for foreigners to fully comprehend. But before we go on,
I'm a foreigner, and things are already hard for me to comprehend, so I'm doubly at disadvantage.
저희 explain 시리즈를 사랑해주시는 많은 구독자분들께 감사하다는 말씀을 먼저 드리면서 저희 영상을 보시면서 좋아하는 아이돌 그룹을 봄과 동시에 영어 공부까지 된다라는 긍정적인 효과를 말씀해 주신 분도 있었는데요. 혹시나
I never thought about it. That is cool.
싶으시다면 하루 10분 야나두를 추천합니다. 핵심만 찝어주는 강의 시간이 10분밖에 안 돼서 매일
Oh, this is an ad.
1대1
But that's cool.
통해 발음 코칭도 받을 수 있으며 완강을 한 수강생들에게
Like,
장학금도 지급됩니다.
It's not obviously not until I started listening to BTS that I thought about learning Korean. Hasn't really happened yet. Every time I thought about it, I get a bit scared. But maybe I should start watching explanation videos in Korean.
Extremely expensive shoes, padding jackets, and watches. These are all everyday objects that students use in their daily lives.
Are they? Not where I came from. Dare I insert a picture of me at school in here? I might do. I might not. I guess you'll find out. I won't right now. I don't have any idea. That's for a future comedian to decide. But where I come from
is a Korean idiom called 사공이 많으면 배가 산으로 간다, which is translated into too many cooks spoil the broth.
Okay, cool.
So basically,
wait, too many what? Too many rowers make the boat go to the mountains. That is quite a mouthful. Also, why does the boat go to the mountains? I'm just thinking about the first Lord of the Rings movie now. Very distracted. But yeah, where I come from, you know, people have school uniforms, and I know there's obviously debate about if that's good or not, but I think school uniforms are a big equalizer. I do think they work quite well that way. They're not perfect. You know, you obviously classism is so entrenched in society, you still have people being like, you have a school uniform, but it's a hand-me-down. I can tell it's a knockoff. You know, but it does help quite a bit, I think. Also, I am more self-conscious than people. I used to actually sometimes cry in the morning if I couldn't find a pair of matching socks. Yeah, so I guess nothing's changed.
Or the broth. So basically, BTS is trying to criticize the students alongside with the Korean education system that both parties are going in the wrong direction.
But how does that follow? I don't know.
These lines express what school looks like these days in a nutshell. Rich students and poor students can be identified by whether they have expensive clothes or not. For students who cannot afford these expensive clothes, they'll do whatever they can to get their hands on these particular brands or clothes.
And I like that, like, even though I didn't realize initially when I was reacting to it that it is more specifically about school and people posing and stuff, like, the themes are still so universal, it's so relevant across the world. Like, the class divide, which used to be at least, you know, a couple of stacks, is now just two. It's the haves and the haves not. It's the 1% and everyone else, you know? Like, I love how universal their themes are. It definitely helps with somebody like me,
Touch the conscience of
a very foreigner.
behavior trying to get expensive apparel, how they're sensitive towards trends and appearance, and how they whined and begged and asked their parents again and again to buy them these expensive clothes.
Okay, I swear the one I reacted to didn't have the word parent in it. I feel like that would have helped me clue into it. I don't know. See, look, yeah, okay, I'm going to think that the translation I watched was bad. I could be wrong. It might just be an excuse I'm making in the past. Hindsight is 20/20, as they say, especially when you're referring to your own failures. But I don't think, like, this is more blatant, I think. This is the best translation, shockingly.
Finally, the word spinebreaker appears. The phrase spinebreaker comes from the Korean idiom 등골이 휘다, which literally means your back gets bent.
From hard work. Yeah, okay.
Hard physical labor is done by bending your back. Thus, if you work too much, your spine would permanently become bent.
See, now that's just making me think of some of the very depressing war poetry I read in English classes, you know. Bent double, we cursed through sludge. It was all very good, but very, very sad. And not very cheery.
Spine breakers. Not only the kids, but certain items themselves are now officially called spine breakers because parents need to work so hard to afford these items. So these so-called spine...
Okay, but the interesting thing about this, which I don't know if BTS went into, or I guess I'll see, is that I don't blame kids for this. Like, kids are a product of the society they live in, you know? Like, I blame society, like, and I don't mean like, generic, I blame society that I couldn't get fresh milk today, or whatever. I blame society that I tripped over this rock. No, I mean, like, you know, it's a broken society where our priorities come down to, I must have this to fit in. And that isn't something that kids are born thinking. That's something that they pick up on. And it's very much in the interest of people that make these kind of luxury clothing and brands to push that image, you know, which is why, ironically enough, people like BTS will often wear, you know, curated wardrobes when they perform and stuff like that.
Parents try to provide them food or necessities, but rather pester their parents.
Food and necessities, it's food and necessities. Yeah, this translation is utterly different from what I read.
It's because students in Korea wear school uniforms, but in the
okay.
It gets too cold.
Ah, see, that is a clever way. And yeah, I guess that made sense in the UK too. I do think people would often wear coats and stuff. I don't know if there was as much of a thing about having them be expensive, but I don't know. I can't remember much from my childhood. I can't remember much from last week, to be honest, so I'm not the best source to ask about this. But that makes sense. That is a great way of getting past the whole school uniform thing. Maybe they should make coat school uniform too.
The padded jacket market wasn't that diverse, and particular brands were lead brands.
I love how they have a stock picture of people with North Face jackets on head down.
These padded jackets had and still do have.
It's like a version of that Apple ad from 1984, or that was about 1984.
Go from $500 to $1,000. They even had ranks in the paddings, depending on how much duck down was inside. But nowadays, it's no longer about particular brands and clothing.
They had ranks on them, depending on how much specifically dead animal hair was in the coat. Well, that's a strange priority, don't you think? That's something that nobody plops out of the womb being like, all right, sweet, I'm alive now. Get me the fluffiest, most dead animal-filled this coat in existence. That doesn't happen. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like I wonder how far the criticism goes. Like, and it makes obviously, you know, I'm not saying that the kids and parents perpetrating this aren't deserving of any criticism, but I think it goes a lot deeper than this.
But nowadays, it's no longer about particular brands and clothing. The spine breaking has evolved and expanded into products such as smartphones. Right. So obviously, the luxurious clothing was a burden to parents that were not in the position to afford it, but nevertheless their kids demanded them to buy it. So that's why the last lyric says, Rather than filling your jacket with duck down, fill your head first with some common sense or conscience before it's too...
I mean, it's fair, but kids don't have common sense. That's why we don't hold kids to the same standards as adults, legally, morally, as far as how much cheese they can eat. I can eat a kid under the table cheese-wise. But, yeah.
The chorus is literally BTS being satirical about the kids that feel...
It's funny, I didn't think I'd come away from this video thinking, oh, BTS missed a trick here, but I feel that they kind of did a bit. I guess we'll see. I obviously haven't seen the whole reaction, the whole explanation yet, but I really do think, like, where is the blame for society, you know? Like, even, like, the idea of spine breaking, a lot of that comes down to stuff like, you know, layaway payments, interest-free payments, like, I mean, honestly, if we just want to say it, and if anyone's listening, capitalism, you know, like, there's a lot more at stake here than just kids wanting things.
Swag in their dirty clothes. It's dirty clothes because they earned it in a dirty way, not by earning the money themselves, but by breaking their parents' backs. The expression that the dirty clothes will tighten up your heart means that...
Then again, in BTS's defense, before I get a lot of long-worded essays and people unsubscribing and mail bombs and all that kind of lovely stuff, it is true that some people just aren't great people, and that is kind of a thing from birth. I don't think babies necessarily come out completely evil, but I think maybe at least 50% of it is kind of set, you know, there's conditions like narcissism, serial killerism, I don't know what the word for that is, but you can get evil babies, or at least kids that aren't good, kids that have strange priorities, or, like, we've all met kids where the parents seem to be lovely, perhaps their flaw is they're too giving, they spoil the kids too much, but regardless of that, the kid seems to be completely mean, like, treats the parent like crap and that kind of stuff, which is hard to really lay the blame on the parent for, I guess. It's complex. This is a complex issue. I think it's fair to say that. I think that's probably why there's a video about it, and a song about it, and a song about a video, and a video about the song, and a video about the video about the song, which is where I come in for some reason. But I also wonder how much those sorts of people who seem to be very spoiled, bratty kids then change as they get older. Like, how many of those people change? I know some people that have changed.
The kids will feel guilty and bad
I changed.
wearing their clothes.
I no longer cry as long about unpaired socks.
In the second verse, BTS disses the kid haters. 배가 부르다 means that you have it easy and you have no worries of getting food in your mouth. Kids have their bellies full all due to their parents. Thus they don't know how to do anything but to just feed on provided food. But they're being nosy and saying things that they wouldn't be able to say in front of the actual person. Bluffing.
Wait, so are they defending the kids there? I couldn't quite tell.
You'll only be satisfied when the whole population of Korea dresses the same as you. This is satire against how kids think wearing the same things look cool. RM then goes on by saying, mind your own business, fashion, and life.
I think an interesting thing about this is, in a roundabout way, if you're a kid listening to this, a Korean kid, I guess specifically, it does kind of enable you to think, well, maybe I actually don't need that to be happy. But at the same time, I remember being a kid, it's dreadful, you know, there's so much pressure from all sides. It doesn't get that much better as you get older, but it is a little bit easier now. And I don't know, I just, I completely understand what BTS is singing about. I just don't know if I agree with the angle they're taking, but they could completely bring this back. They could completely save it at the bell.
He's into a comical version. He is impersonating and mocking the kids by imitating what they would actually say.
But somebody please think of the children.
What should I do? Friends poorer than me even have it. If I don't want to be an outcast, I need to buy it. At this...
Which are all legit concerns when you're a kid. But when they say still in your room at that age, that seems to be much more about people who haven't grown up. Like, we're not talking about 13-year-olds, we're talking about people who are like 24, whatever, still living with their parents, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially in the broken society we live in. Let's be clear. But there obviously are people that do just take and take and take, you know? It's not completely black and white. So that I could see more of. That is easier to me than, you know, this video being titled, BTS Disses Children.
For wearing expensive clothes. But he also points out that at least he's attractive, and most of all, he's not a spine breaker.
At least I'm attractive. Yeah, we know RM. I didn't have to say it.
Point of the song. The real spine breaker is you, who's still in the corner of your room at that age. Which means you can't do anything by yourself, so why don't you just shut up and respect your parents by helping them not suffer by paying your stupid padding jacket.
Now, I just wish there was a version of this song, alternate take of this song, that was specifically for kids whose parents didn't really spoil them or didn't really, do stuff that or were kind of emotionally, morally quite weird with money. Now, where's that song? I would be giving that one lots of clicks and likes. Okay, interesting. See, I'm very much glad I listened to this because, I didn't really grasp all of it, and it seems to me like it was going so well earlier. The DKDKTV guys are basically saying, or I guess, Guy, is saying that this is about kids who take their parents for granted, kids who just want, take for their parents, it isn't quite how I saw and listened to it. I'm not saying their interpretation of it is wrong, but obviously I I respect their take on it. They are Korean. They actually understand it. They have a proper translation. There's a million reasons why they know what they're talking about. But it's almost a little disappointing. I'm glad I know what the song is about more now. But I feel how old is this Spinebreaker song? That's what I want to know. Because it almost feels like old BTS, more judgmental BTS. 2014. Okay, that makes sense. This is BTS 6 years ago, back when they were making songs about being in school. So that contextually makes complete sense. Because I was basically being but wait a second, this doesn't sound very woke. Where's the gender and money fluidity of current era BTS? So I think actually knowing it's from 2014 has helped me sigh a bit of relief. I get it now. Yeah, and I'm glad I watched that video. Thank you for suggesting it. It's always nice to know which bits I was right about, which was not really anything in this case, which bits I was wrong about, so most of it. And just to understand where BTS are coming from, and this really makes me feel obviously I'll get to it eventually, or, X years from now it'll all be done, water under the bridge, but I really do want to, see all of BTS's, journey, and I'm very curious about their early songs now, because that, to me, this is, tonally very different from their current stuff. Alright, I said a big word like tonally, which means this reaction is wrapped up. It's all good. I can put it to bed now. Thanks for suggesting that, guys. I hope you enjoyed my reaction, and thank you for helping me enlighten myself on my BTS journey. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming. Please make sure you are subscribed, and do check out my Patreon and my Discord and all that kind of stuff in the description. Mostly the Patreon, because that's the one that helps me put reaction videos on your table. Think about it, and it doesn't make sense. Okay, so I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye now. And remember, if you like this reaction to Explained by a Korean, then click the subscribe button. More videos of mine you'll be seeing. Bunny.